This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
We know that Jalen Carter is the best defensive lineman we have right now, but how teams are starting to react to him garnishing the respect that he deserves is going to open up a lot more for this defensive line to see who is going to step up in these moments. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to be talking about Jaylen Herz and his comments on obviously Kelce taking a lot off his plate since, they have been together before Kelce retired. And now Jaylen Herz taking on a lot of responsibility. Is that a strength? Is it a weakness? Are you worried? We're going to talk about all that. So let's get straight into it all.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's enjoying their weekend. We are days away from the first game of the Eagles season. I can't talk today, but we're going to be talking about this defensive line. And I've been harping on this defensive line since the beginning of training camp and really how the production has been. And we're going to be going into a lot of different details about every player, but most of all, Jalen Carter making the huge difference as he has garnished the most attention really from the beginning of last season to the end, and what has to change going into the whole situation when it comes to this pass rush, who is going to step up, okay? But before I get into all this nonsense, this video is sponsored by BetUS, and this is a word from our sponsors. If I'm the betting man that I am and you're rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles, this is the redemption year for Jalen Herz. This is the year we get the bad taste out of our mouths from last season. If I'm going all in, ride or die with a Super Bowl and bringing that Lombardi trophy back to Philadelphia for a second time, you need to go to BetUS, and I'm not wasting any time with it. I'm putting $500 down as the risk and getting $7,000 back at the end of the year because this offense is going to be explosive. This defense by Vic Fangio is going to be dynamic. New customers for BetUS get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. You can't pass up on this for the most important season for the Philadelphia Eagles. Check the link in the description below, and I want to thank BetUS for sponsoring this video. Now, I'm not going to go over last year and what happened, but yes, we know what happened. I don't think I need to discuss this anymore when it comes to this Eagles defense. But I got to say, once Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter were producing last year, especially Jordan Davis, finding out that not only is he great at run stuffing, but damn, that man had a pass rush. That man was going after Josh Allen on the sideline. That man was showing hustle, but it didn't last long. It ended very fast as the games went on where the Eagles were really falling apart. They were the worst 10-1 team I've ever seen, and finally they fell apart even more and crumbled straight to the ground right after that. So when you look at Jordan Davis, what he did early in the season, and then really just losing, really just phasing out of this defense and just falling apart at this point, Jalen Carter was the one that was garnishing a lot of respect from offenses later on, where the slide protection would go to his side. So what happens when the slide protection goes to Jalen Carter's side as of right now? Well, you're going to get a lot of one-on-ones. And then we look and we say, well, what did the Eagles do in this training camp that shows me that somebody's going to win these one-on-ones? Not much, okay? I'm not going to say this is a lackluster defensive line, but it kind of is. This is really the first year where we're saying, man, where's the depth? Not enough on the edge. So this is the first year that the Eagles have really put more into their secondary resource-wise than their defensive line. But think about it. Josh Sweat, haven't heard anything from him this past offseason program. I hope he's okay because this man needs to have a double-digit sack season. I'm not even kidding. Josh Sweat is playing for a new contract out of Philadelphia. He will not resign because he got restructured to a $13 million fully guaranteed deal. So Josh Sweat really needs to pull up. He really does. Brandon Graham is going to retire after this year. How much, juice does he have left at this point? So you're hoping he's just being disruptive, okay? Nolan Smith, we've talked about this a million times. Oh, Joe, you're just going to crap on him as usual. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. But, if I complain about a player, it means I want them to be better. I know they can be better. Trust me, if there's a kid that I don't feel like has it, he's not going to do anything in his career in Philadelphia. I would say it right now. but Nolan Smith is still producing. Not a strong camp from 2 sacks that literally means nothing to me because I never really seen him garnish pressures. Like, even if he's not getting sacks and he's garnishing these big pressures at practice or joint practices or something like that. Plus, he played the 3rd preseason game, and he goes to tell us that, oh, I told the coaching staff I wanted to play, and they let me play. Yeah, sure they did. Okay, if they felt like you were just the biggest badass in general, they would have not played you. You don't tell the coaching staff to play you. They are, you are a part of what they're doing. Okay, they don't want, you're a product for the Philadelphia Eagles that cannot get hurt. We can't afford an edge rusher to get hurt in preseason games, and I get it. I think these guys needed the snaps. The defensive line in general has deteriorated from last year a little bit, but I won't say that we are going in the wrong direction. I don't know what Vic Fangio is putting out on the field because got to remember something here. We're going to use a lot of blitz packages this year. He loves to blitz as much as it's a passive off-ball type scheme. I think, he's going to be pretty aggressive too. I think there's going to be a really nice balance. But like I said, if Nolan Smith had, 3 to 5 sacks last year and got some pressures, I would have felt a little bit comfortable about trading Hassan Reddick. We all know that situation, how that's going, so it's almost a blessing in disguise. But what you lost in your defensive line is a closer at this point. Who can you count on these one-on-one situations? If the pass protection, if they slide protection to Jalen Carter's side, then hopefully if Jordan Davis has a one-on-one, which is great, and this is his 3rd year. Jordan Davis needs to have a big year this year. He starts getting pressures. He starts holding his ground. Running backs can't get through. He starts really holding those guys back. I mean, giving Jordan Davis a one-on-one is almost really unfair, but, fell off last year. Will he fall off this year? We talk about Jordan Davis. He's in great shape, and all the players speak all this highly positive shit about him. Is he really in good shape? Is his motor a lot better? Can he last a lot longer in these games? Can he push a little farther as a 1st-round pick? We're talking about a 1st-round pick, guys. Nolan Smith's a 1st-round pick. Jalen Carter's a 1st-round pick. Okay? So it's Jordan Davis, you got 1st-round pick material here. You have guys that have been drafted in the 1st round, your defensive line, and on the edge, I got to see more. Jordan Davis, I definitely got to see an upsided year, okay? I'll give it like 10 games at this point. In the first 10 games, Jordan Davis looks just blah out there. It's going to be a problem. With Milton Williams becoming a free agent after this year, and then Jordan Davis is going to go into his last year of his deal, the Eagles have some big decisions to make. But, obviously Bryce Huff is paid $17 million a year. Okay, we all know that, he's Hassan Reddick's replacement, a different player, obviously putting him out of position. Vic Fangio took a big gamble and putting him in pass coverage, and is he good at it? Is he fantastic at it? I haven't seen enough to say that he is, but I know he could pass rush, no doubt. I think Bryce Huff will be a good player in the future. And, can he play more than 43% of the snaps in a less heavier rotation? That's really the big problem here because he only played, he played in a heavy rotation as a third down edge rusher last year for the Jets, and he was very successful with 10 sack, a 10 sack season. Okay, so it's interesting. Jaylen Hunt, I think, is more of a perimeter type guy because he can cover tight ends, he can cover running backs, he can drop back in coverage from that edge spot and do some crazy things for his 6'3", 6'4", 242-pound body that he has. It's ridiculous what he could do, and just for his size, how his movement, his ability to just have all this athleticism and catching up with guys is absolutely insane. But with Jaylen Hunt as well, which I don't know if we're even going to have him for the first game against the Packers because he's got that oblique injury. So missing him is going to be huge for this game. I haven't seen enough edge rushing. I haven't seen enough on the edge from some of these guys. The defensive tackle position I feel very good about. Okay, whether it's Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, the newly acquired Byron Young off waivers from the Raiders that they seem to like very much with the release of Marlon Tupelutu, okay, Thomas Booker, okay, Moro Jomo, you have a really good DT group that made some noise this offseason. I thought. You got two guys that are brand new to it. So I feel really happy about that DT group. I think people are going to be very surprised. Sorry, Milton Williams. Like I said, Milton Williams is going to have a crazy year this year. So what I'm really saying here is that Jalen Carter, with that slide protection really going to his side, I think that's how it's going to start for the season because it switched from Jordan Davis last year to Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter gets that double team. Everybody will have that one-on-one. And guess what happens? Whether it's just your edges to have 101 or a 1v1 or Jordan Davis, depending, it doesn't matter who it is. Who is going to make that step? Who is going to take that big step forward, man? Because we really need it. We just can't afford just rushing with, and trust me, I'm going to be looking very closely at the pass rush, and even, will it take more than a game? Possibly, or the Eagles will be right to fire when they start this game next Friday. It can go either or, but I'm really hoping and praying to God that these guys are very successful. I hope they can get to the quarterback. I hope that things, as, guys get more reps, and, the problem is, when you go to training camp, it's just, it really, when it comes to pressure on the edge, it just hasn't been enough for me. Okay, which, if we're not getting pressure, that means that Fangio is going to have to blitz a lot more, and we're going to have to take some shots, unfortunately, and see if we could blitz as a group, which we couldn't do last year. It looked, when we blitzed last year, it was very ugly. It was horrible. Obviously, not setting up players for failure. You don't want to, put a player in a specific position that he's just going to fail at. So you really want to, get these guys in good positions here. So that's what I have to really talk about when it comes to the defensive line. Jalen Carter is a monster. Should have a fantastic year, but he can't do it by himself. So if he garnishes that double team, it really depends who is going to be more valuable. Is it going to be Jordan Davis valuable to offenses? Is it going to be Jordan Davis, or is it going to be Jalen Carter? I think it will be Jalen Carter, and I think, he's gotten a lot of attention around the league. They're going to go to his side. They're going to double team him instead, and you're going to have a lot of single matchups. And God, could somebody win a matchup for the Philadelphia Eagles? When they did last year at times, yes, Hassan Reddick would be your closer. To be a lot more going on. So it was, this is what you're really hoping for your defensive line. And this is what changed from beginning of last year in 23 from Jordan Davis to really at the end with Jalen Carter. And then really the run, obviously the run game, we got killed against the run game last year a lot of times. And, you're hoping that it's improvement here. So let me know who you guys think, is going to step up and really make that fourth down play, is going to really plant their flag and say, holy shit, this player has arrived. Okay, which is great. So I'm hoping that happens. I feel good, but that edge, man, is still a big problem to me. I felt like they should have added another body. I feel like maybe they missed out on Matthew Judon. Maybe they missed out on Yannick Ngakoue. Sorry, it's my phone. Maybe Yannick Ngakoue. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see in the future. Now, I want to talk about Jalen Herz really quick. We won't dive so deep into this, but yeah, there were questions on Jalen Herz, obviously, regarding Jason Kelce retiring. And he had a phone call with WIP, which was interesting, and definitely talked about, since Kelce has left, what has really changed for him. So he says, Eagles Jalen Herz explains why his eagerness to learn is halted with Jason Kelce. Now times are different. He said, quote unquote, we had a great player, Jason Kelce, who took a lot of responsibility, and as a result of that, I was told not to worry about a lot of things. Hertz on 94 WIP, and so many eagerness to learn over the years kind of was halted, but now times are different. So this is interesting to me because, I didn't know that this was going on. Okay, Kelce was doing a lot of the pass protections. He was calling out a lot of the different things that the Eagles were doing. So taking a lot of pressure off Hertz was great, but, now there's this whole this terminology now that Jalen Hertz doesn't know how to command an offense and he can't call anything. What is he doing? He's not a complete quarterback. Why would you pay a guy that's not making calls? So there's a whole bunch of stupid nonsense going on with Jalen Hertz, and it is frankly annoying. And I know for a fact going into this offseason, okay, before the media knew, before the fans knew that Jason Kelce was going to retire, because I think Jalen Hurts already knew he was going to retire way earlier than everybody expected, okay? Got close with Kellen Moore. They signed Kellen Moore to be the offensive coordinator, and really he started to learn, okay? And, this is something a quarterback learns pretty easily, so I'm not really worried about that. He's a smart player. Okay, and I think people are taking this way too close to the chest because Jason Kelce really wanted Jalen Hurts to focus on less things last year, okay? And, if Jason Kelce's going to point out the blitzes and point out some of the protections that he needs to, he wants to take a little bit of that off of Jalen Hurts' plate. We all know the coaching staff was bad last year, so they didn't really help the situation. But this isn't a bad thing, guys, okay? Because with Kellen Moore, he has his own terminology of how a quarterback should be, how much control the quarterback has at the line, what he should be calling out on specific plays. And, yeah, Jalen Hurts is going to be able to audible and do all that. I mean, he's got free reign to do all that. Kellen Moore has said that he will have a lot of control, but at the same time, Kellen Moore is the play caller. He will make Jalen Hurts successful, to the receivers successful, to the running backs, the offensive line. Everything needs to connect together. It starts with this quarterback. Okay, Cam Jurgens is going to be a great center. I think in years' time he'll probably be in a gold jacket, guys. That's how talented he is. Okay, so all these people that are coming out and they're just like, oh my God, Jalen Hurts, man, like he needs to play football as a quarterback with training wheels on. He can't even handle a load, really. Pause. He can't really handle the load. Pause. But you know what I mean. So you're really hoping that they turn something so small into a really big, a big story. And it's ridiculous. So what? If Jason Kelce wanted to do that for him, so what? But Hurts didn't want to continue this process with Cam Jurgens. And Cam Jurgens is a young player right now. This is his first year being the center for the Philadelphia Eagles in a starting regular season. Okay, he's played it before in practice, has gotten a lot of reps at right guard last year, but, we had Kelce last year, and he's been contemplating retirement. He was contemplating retirement for so many years, but now with Jalen Hurts having all the control now, and if there's Eagle fans that think he can't learn all this, and this is what's going to stunt his growth, and if Hurts is saying, hey, it stunted me a little bit because I want to learn it, but Kelce was like, look, let me deal with it. You have so much on your plate as it is. Let me deal with most of it so you could focus on the little things so we can win a Super Bowl this year, and let's go get this. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. So Hurts now taking the power back and saying, well, I'm going to take all this power back. I'm going to make some calls at the line, whether it's protections, whether it's whatever it's going to be. Okay. I need to put 100% focus in this, and this is what I'm going to do. Don't blow this up to be anything else, because it is not. So that's where I'm at with that whole situation with Jalen Hurts and that little, just some of that happened a couple days ago, and people were making a big deal about it, like, oh, you're not, Jalen Hurts feels like maybe he's not a complete quarterback because that part of the control was taken away from him from Kelce since he's been here, and finally, like, he's going to make the calls and do what he needs to do when it comes to protections and all of that in these regular season games, and I'm not worried 1 minute. This is just news. This isn't like, oh my God, how is he just learning this now? He's not a complete quarterback. Like, that's the shit I'm hearing from this whole entire thing that's going on. And it's really annoying. So I hope you all agree that I don't think we should be worried about Jalen Hurts. He's the last player I'm really worried about. But offensively, it starts with him. And it starts with Kellen Moore too. So we're hoping that's going to be really awesome. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. That is our video for the day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. And if you guys have not, click the link for BetUS. Okay, get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Start betting. Get rich, because the Eagles are going to make you a lot of money this year. And hopefully with that second Lombardi coming to Philadelphia. Click the link below and start betting, because I use this every week of the season. And I'm always going to make a lot of money. So if you want to be a quadruple millionaire, you want to be a billionaire, whatever you want, it's there. All right. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Let me know what you guys think about, obviously, Jalen Carter and how offenses will treat this defensive line. Who needs to step up, in your opinion, on that edge? And Jaylen Herz taking more responsibility. Were you shocked by this news that Kelsey took some off his plate the last few years? Or are you not shocked at saying, Hertz is going to be fine, So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes it up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.